Will there ever be a vaccine? Will this all end? Will life return to normal? Will my job be still safe? Or will I even have a job after this quarantine? And for students, will it still be safe to go to school? What would school be like? Hello everybody! So for today's video, we will be tackling about how we should cope up with change during and after this pandemic. So we all know that everything is uncertain. A lot of us are going through challenges during this time. But through all this uncertainty, I believe that it is important to remain resilient, meaning being tough amidst all the challenges we are facing during this trying time. So today, we will be joined by my beloved Auntie Shyne Mangulabnan, who is a licensed counselor with almost 2 decades of experience. She also teaches psychology to college students and is currently taking up a doctorate degree in family studies. So I am very blessed to have an auntie whom I can ask advices from anytime. So let us welcome Auntie Shyne.
Hi, Auntie!
Hi, Nins!
Hello!
Thanks for inviting me.
So, how are you, Auntie? How's life?
I'm good. How's life ka diha? How's life? Magstorya biya ta, so we know how it is. Why laag?
Yeah, no laag. Inspiration man ako sa Auntie Shyne. Basta laag.
Mamuking yun. Sige, pamuking yun day.
As I said, sa mga credentials ni Auntie Shyne cannot be reached na dun siya, guys. So, she will be blessing us with her knowledge. So, ready, Auntie?
Ready.
Okay, so with everything that's going on right now, Auntie, with everything, like, it's all uncertain what's gonna happen after this pandemic. How should we deal with change? Or what are the different meanings of change and how should we deal with it?
Yeah. Change is normal, no? And every day in our everyday life. But with the pandemic that's happening, it's a deeper definition of change. It's becoming more difficult to define, if I may say. Kaya it has something to do with the new normal,
Yes,
right?
So, Auntie Nana, we would be going through this in this lifetime. We would be part of this history.
Right. And we have some things to tell our grandchildren and great-grandchildren in the future that we had to go through this. So going back to your question, Nan, of what are the different changes that we're going through? Of course, our personal changes that we encounter every day, the emotional changes that we go through, right? A lot of people have lost jobs. A lot of people are not sure if they can go back to school. So that's about the personal change and the emotional change. The social changes that we're also experiencing right now, it's less now for us to be able to spend time with friends outside and to see relatives if we want to. Unlike before, anytime we want to, we can just visit, right? And of course, the global change that we're also experiencing now, like closures of stores, of businesses, financial changes. So there.
Really appreciate what we need, diba? Like the essential stuff in life. Like,
right.
Na ang mga wants because it's not needed anymore. It's not practical anymore.
Yeah. So, hey, nice Shopee.
Online.
Pero
7 sales sa Shopee.
mausad na. Pero yeah, true, na we pick na lang what we want. Diba? We lessen the choices also.
And we can live raman di ay without this. Sa una, abi nato, no, I have to do this, I have to do that. Pero kaya.
Yeah. And we become more creative. O, diba? Creativity.
My wall.
Right, that's one. Product of creativity.
Yes. So how do I help myself move forward? How do I prepare myself to be mentally fit for whatever that's gonna come my way after this?
Yeah. What I always tell friends or when I have counseling is that I talk to, and we talk about the change, we talk about how to adapt to the different kinds of changes that are going on. Number one that I always tell them, and this is also something that I try to change or I try to practice within myself, is perspective. It's always about how you look at things, right? Wait.
Glass half full and not half empty.
Right, that one, teacher Niña. There, that. And of course, with that also, you cannot change your perspective if you do not know how to be grateful with the things that you have. Yeah, it starts with being grateful with even the tiniest things that you have, as simple as having an internet. Not everybody gets to have an internet.
Table.
Right, that one. The little things like being able to get up and shower, that's a big thing already. So we, little by little, diba? Because with everything that's happening now, we cannot expect mansad na, okay, right away, I'll be fine. Right away, I'll adapt to change. So of course, there's something to do with transition. And there's something to do with understanding also what you're going through personally in order for you to be able to adapt and, you know, change your perspective little by little.
For this too shall pass.
Oo, kanang this too shall pass. Yeah.
Dili man sa tahatagag problems ni Lord nga di na ito makaya, diba?
Right, correct. And you know, the problems, the challenges, they're inevitable. So yeah, change the perspective by that way. And think about it. If we don't have challenges also in life, it doesn't shape us to be better individuals, diba? Because we always learn from every challenge that we have.
Experience.
Right.
To add, Auntie, I also believe in the saying na law of attraction. If you think positively, the blessings will come. But if you always think about your problems, you also receive more problems.
Right.
It's really important na you have a good perspective in life. You always cultivate good thoughts and you can remain positive in your outlook.
Right. Good vibes only.
Exactly.
Right. I believe that too.
Yes, let's proceed. Hoping that a lot of professionals and students will be watching this vlog. Me, especially me, I'm exposed to students and parents and maybe like young adults. So how should we help the youth cope up with this pandemic, with everything, like especially now it's really new for them to have online classes, to not be physically present in the classrooms. So how should we help them, or we adults, how should we help the youth cope up with this?
Number one, Yud, is we try not to compare, right? Our generation, my generation, for example, with my daughter's generation or your generation, right? I think we have to let go of the judgmental aspect of things. We also have to understand that the generation now was exposed to that the moment they grew up. The moment they were born, they had the internet, they had the magic of Google, for example. So everything was just like that. And when something that you're so used to having or used to living with is taken away or is changed, deliberately changed, then of course one person or an individual would have difficulty adjusting to that. So like the teenagers might not be used to being at home all the time because most of them would study outside. We are not to judge that, right? Because that's how they grew up. Instead of judging, let us try to be more understanding, right? If you want to understand, why do you have to study outside? When during my time, I just had to stay home. Kapag ganito study table, daraks balay, study, right? Have to understand our youth that they grew up in a different
environment,
era, right? So, yeah, so we have to be able to listen and really communicate also so that we have better understanding with them and, lessen the judging.
Because with that said, Auntie, I think that's also one of the factors that the youth tend to drift away from their parents, or like, murag na yung wall mo build up ba? because they can't express to their parents their concerns because of that. Yeah, I think it's really fun if we listen to our youth, like especially now na I'm teaching na in Velez, and daghan kayo reklamo ang students, pero at the same time maka-understand pa ko nila because being a student is still fresh to me. When I listen to the students' perspective and the oldies' perspective, it's really different.
Right.
Dapat yun na yung middle ground.
And I think, Nan, one very important thing for us to remember also when you become an adult, like full-fledged adult later on, in your 30s, is that you have to remember that you were once a teenager also. And the decisions, the mistakes, everything that you've had to go through shaped you to be who you are today, right? So when I have counselees for teenagers, for in their 20s, I always think, how was I during that time? Diba? I also had my own share of challenges, and yeah, it's normal, right? So it's, better understanding it. Or believing that, okay, there was a reason why it had to happen. Because it's molding you to be a better individual.
Okay, so next question, Auntie. How can we reach out to people who alienate themselves? Like, we know there are a lot of people who are really suffering silently and they don't want to hassle others with their problems. So how can we reach out to them and let them know that we're just here to listen?
Yeah, to listen. Sometimes it's difficult to reach out, or it's difficult to be a friend to someone who doesn't need one, right? But in this case, we can't blame people why they want to also withdraw from others, right? It can be something that's emotional, something that's more personal. But one thing that we can do is to make sure that we're still there for the person. One is that just tell the person that, you know what, whenever you're ready to talk to me, I'll be here. And make sure that when you do that, when you say that, you mean it. Sometimes if it's not too much also, you can always like give a call, right? Or if you're good at baking, you can bake something and then send it over to your friends, send with a little note saying, hey, here's something to cheer you up. Little things like that. It doesn't have to be lengthy conversations all the time, but the little gestures that you can do to make the person feel like, okay, you're here, you're consistently here. I think that would be more than enough.
I think also it's important to give someone space also. And maybe going back to what we said kanina, perspective, I think it's also important that we put ourselves in their shoes. Like,
you're right.
It's important na we try to understand them, even if it's hard for us to understand what they're going through. So, without judgment lang jud, we just have to be there for them.
Right.
We're all battling our own problems. We're all battling demons.
Yeah. Battles that we don't know what others are also going through.
Now, by saying, we really can't understand what someone is going through unless we experience it firsthand.
Exactly.
So, always be kind to everyone you meet na lang dyan because we don't know what they're going through.
Yeah, and ayaw yung judge.
Exactly.
Bawal ang judger.
Yes. Next and final question, Auntie. So, because of the lockdown, especially here in Cebu or everywhere in the whole Philippines, it is really, we don't see our loved ones who are far, diba? Especially those who are in a relationship. What can you suggest or what can you tell those who are struggling to keep their relationship strong because of the distance COVID has placed between them?
Well, I think if it's meant to be, it will be.
That's
right?
very
Despite
true.
the distance. Despite the distance, right? And people can be creative now if you want to keep the relationship. There are a lot of ways to keep it creative, right?
To keep the fire burning. So that's it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much, Auntie Shyne, for sharing your expertise with us today. So don't forget to share love, hit on the like and subscribe button, and press on the notification bell for you to be notified for new videos like this one. So this is Nin.
And Shine.
Spread love.
God bless.
And take care, everybody.